Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Monday Lunchtime Live. It's James and Pete here with you this afternoon, and we're so glad that you're able to join us. As you jump into the stream today and you join us for Monday Lunchtime Live, please do say hello in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you're having for lunch. Tell us what you're up to today. Tell us what you got up to in the weekend and what you've got planned in the week ahead as well. We've got some important updates to share with you today, and we're going to have a little bit of a look back at the weekend, how that went, and we're going to have a look forward into the week ahead as well. So James is with me today. Good to have you with us, mate. I hope you're doing well. I hope your weekend was good. I know yesterday was pretty good, so we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But did you know, I thought we'd start with this. I thought we'd start with a did you know. Did you know that today is National Drink Beer Day?
Oh, well, what are we doing here?
We should be doing Monday Lunchtime Live from the pub.
Yeah.
Really, should we? National Drink Beer Day.
Just as long as we're out by 10, remember.
Yeah, well, that would give us plenty of time, wouldn't it, to sample a few choice ales.
Yeah.
Speaking of choice ales.
Organising it now, Pete. Should we be there like 1:15?
Yeah. Hi, Jackie. Good to see you jumping on.
Hi, Jackie.
So what I thought we'd do, James, is just have a little bit of, just to kick us off in a little bit of a discussion. As it is National Drink Beer Day, I would love to hear from you about what your favourite beer is, and from anybody joining us today as well in celebration of National Drink Beer Day. If you are a partaker of beer, what is your favourite beer? What's your favourite ale? What's your favourite lager? What's your favourite beer? Let us know. And if we haven't already tried it, I'm sure that we'll probably want to try out people's recommendations as well. So, James, kick us off. What is your favourite beer?
I was just going to say, I know Jackie, as soon as she's there, Jackie's told me on a number of occasions her favourite is John Smith's. Well, she says she likes a John Smith's on like a Friday. She has a ritual like Friday night or something like that, which is really, I don't know if that's her favourite or just one she often goes for. But that's do you know, it's a question I often ponder and it's difficult. Can I split it into a favourite lager and a favourite bitter?
Oh, go on then.
I love real ales and craft ales, but the real ale that I just think never ever fails to come through is Old Peculiar. Theakson's Old Peculiar. It's just nice and rich and just fantastic. So I really enjoy that. You know what I'm going to say for favourite lager, though, don't you? The one that makes you want to vomit. Not easy to get down here, but I love getting.
Jackie beat you to it.
That's because Jackie was really, a few months ago, she was really sweet and she bought me some Tennent's online because you can't get it down here because it's a
good thing too.
Yeah, keep it as far away from you as possible. Although they were selling it in Morrison's the other week, so I don't know if they've still got it in there, but I thought I'd better go and buy up all their stock just so they bring in, think it's popular and bring in more. So what about you, Pete? What's your favourite?
Well, I'm just looking at the comments. So Jackie's saying John Smith's. Donna's saying Stella or nice pale ale. Yeah, I love a pale ale and IPA. For me, my favourite beer is, I've got to go with Innocent Gun Original. I just love Innocent Gun Original. Doom Bar is another great shout as well, Jackie. A Doom Bar is a lovely thing to partake of. I think like an autumn afternoon by an open fire. A Doom Bar is like the perfect beverage. But all year round, whether it's hot, cold, for me, it's got to be an Innocent Gun Original. It's got to be my favourite beer. So I thought, keep them coming in, guys. Keep your favourite tipples coming in. We always like a good recommendation. I know both James and I have a book somewhere around our house. In fact, I think you might have two, don't you, James?
Keep the show going for 1 minute.
Yeah. So both and I have this book, and we're both steadily working our way through it as best we can. And it is. You've lost it already.
Oh no! Here we go.
Here we go. Show us it, James. Come on, we need to see this book.
This looks really bad on me, but you have the same one, don't you? I don't know if it's on that bookshelf.
I do have the same one. Yeah.
But that book, and also 300, because 300 wasn't enough, so they made 300 more beers to try before you die.
Wow. Well, I haven't got the more beers, and I'm still working my way through the first 300. Yeah. So I don't know about you.
Some of them are from like Australia or New Zealand or Norway, and they're not necessarily easy to get hold of. So
So it reminds me of. Do you know what we'll have to do one day? We should have to go on a road trip, won't we? We'll have to do round the world beer tasting trip.
Yeah, I think that's a
like
good
that film Sideways. You ever seen that, where they go and do the wine tasting trip, but we'll have a beer tasting trip.
Yeah.
So, and actually that brings me on to the next question I was going to ask. So I was going to ask, given your favorite beer, what do you think would be your favorite place to drink your favorite beer?
Just like a nasty old well, actually, no, just from a footballing point of view, I love there's two pubs I love, and one of them's the District Bar in Glasgow, and the other the other one's the Embankment in Nottingham. But apart from that, no, I think in terms of a good location, like say somewhere, I'd love to go somewhere like the Lake District and sit on top of like Helvellyn or somewhere like that, and just drink Coniston Bluebird or something like that.
Might be a bit cold at the top of there right now.
It will be at the minute.
Yeah.
It's got snow on it.
Well, keep your beer nice and chilled, I guess.
Yeah,
you might want something a bit warming. Yeah, I think for me, especially this sort of time of year, as we are starting to get into autumn, the best place to drink any ale, which is kind of my preferred tipple, especially this time of year, is just near a fire. It doesn't, it can be anywhere as long as there's a fire. Preferably a fire that's under control, but a fire, sitting drinking a real ale next to a fire is fantastic. But yeah, so today is National Drink Beer Day. So if you've got a beer in at home, or if you're off to the pub today, have a beer and celebrate National Drink Beer Day. Please drink responsibly. I'm going to delay it by a couple of the days and catch up soon. But I'll certainly be indulging in a beer in a couple of days. Absolutely. In celebration of National Drink Beer Day. So great. Okay.
I didn't know that, Pete, and I'm glad that's something I've learned on Monday Lunchtime Live today. I didn't know you'd have thought I'd have known something like that.
We never stop learning. We never stop learning.
There you go.
Excellent. So maybe you can tick off another one of your 300 another one of your 600 beers.
Some of them are really just so hard to find, but I'll keep going. I'll keep going. I'll keep trying.
I think I need to get my book out actually and check to see where I am currently. And how many I've done. It's probably only about 50 tops. So
because I remember, if I can just say, I remember like a few years ago, Kelly and I came for dinner at your house, and I saw it on your shelf.
Yeah.
And then Kelly got that the second one for me for like my birthday later that year. She said she thought if Pete's got one, Jane's got the other, we got the complete set. But then I just saw this, but it said revised and updated. So there might even be some beers in here that are not in your one.
So we might have like 612 beers or something to well, you never know. You can never have too many beers, I guess, except in one session where you definitely can have too many beers.
Drink responsibly.
Yes. Okay, so let's have a little look back now at the weekend just gone, and I hope everybody who's joining us today, I hope you had a great weekend. Again, let us know what you got up to over the weekend, if there was anything special. Obviously, it's a little bit restricted at the moment with new restrictions coming in and not being able to meet with too many people and all of that jazz. But we had a great time on Sunday, didn't we, with our first ever live stream Sunday service, which I really thought went pretty much as well as we could have hoped for, barring maybe one little issue right at the start. I thought it actually went really well. What do you think?
We had a tiny little hiccup at the very start but it wasn't with the sound per se. It was the sound on one video, wasn't it? And
it was. Yeah.
I did. You were on the producing desk, weren't you, Pete? And I'd just gone out to sort of check to see what it sounded like. And I saw some comments from a couple of people, and I got that sinking feeling, thinking, "Oh no, is this all this hard work going to be down the drain?" Because Kelly actually told me that there's. I think actually my heart went out to them. She said that Bridge Church in Lincoln had an issue with their live stream yesterday, and they had to just can the whole thing. Knowing what Dave and Sean and all the guys at Bridge Church are like, they'd have probably just laughed about it and taken it all in their stride. I'm sure, but my heart kind of went out to them a bit, because I just thought, wow, that's frustrating. But there's so much work went into it. I know you wouldn't want to boast about it at all, Pete, but you put in an amazing amount of hard work to to get everything not just looking good but working well as well. I think there's looking at all those different elements is really difficult to put it all together. So you did a brilliant job, and it's just great to be live. And I think there are lots more people online, and it's good to see that many people online and interacting with it. So yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it was really great to see so many people joining in and to hear from everybody in the comments as well. And thanks for everybody's support in helping to make it all happen as well. And I'm really, really grateful for the team that we had working really, really hard in the run up to the weekend to make everything look and sound as good as possibly could. We, even up to the point when we were drilling holes in the walls and the building and stuff like that. Or Bill was doing it, I should say. We weren't doing it because it would have been a right mess. But Bill did it.
That really was terrifying.
Yeah. Bill did a great job drilling holes in the wall and putting cables in and all sorts of stuff. And really, really hard team effort to make it happen. I was so pleased that it worked. When we started going out and the sound wasn't working on the first video, my phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree with the messages saying no sound, no sound, no sound. I was like, oh no, where are we going? Much like you, but it all worked out in the end, and I'm really, really pleased. It's been, over this whole period as we've kind of shifted our whole lives almost, it seems like, doesn't it, online in some respects. There's been so much hard work that's gone into making things like a Sunday service happen. And this is more work that's going in to allow us to do it in a different way, and I think probably a better way. So I'm really, really pleased that we're able to get there. It doesn't mean the hard work stops. It just means that we're going to be working in a different kind of fashion, which I hope will be a little bit more friendly to us as well as we continue to do that. So I thought it went really well, and it was great to have live worship from the building, which was a massive plus because originally we weren't actually thinking that was going to be possible. So we're really happy about that, and we're possibly looking at next week, as if we can, bringing in a couple of more musicians as well, just to enhance kind of the worship team as well, to sort of bringing back some of those musicians that we haven't been able to hear from over the last few months, and to be able to layer in some more instruments as well would be really, really great. And as part of the service, James, I thought the word that you brought as part of our homecoming series was really, really, really good. So do you want to just reflect for a couple of minutes on that, and maybe we can chat about that? And guys, if you have comments or questions about James's talk from Sunday, please do pop them into the comments, and he'll answer them, or we can talk about them.
Thank you, Pete. I didn't even pay you to say that. That's really kind of you. Thank you. And so I think it will be available shortly, won't it, as a standalone video, will it?
We will make it available.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So one of the things we've been doing for a while now is we've so you can watch the online service, but later on, if you just want to listen to the message or listen back to the message a bit rather than just the rest, so we chop that out and put that just up as a standalone video in a series, so you can easily access that if you want. So what I really talked about was something I talked about not that long ago, but I really felt for a few weeks God really speaking to me and saying it's something I needed to share again. And I talked about the parable of the lost son, and how we as Christians need to make sure that we're looking out for the prodigals in our and the people who maybe have once been part of a church, maybe once known Jesus, but he's not really at the centre of their lives anymore. Maybe he's not really a fixture in their lives anymore. But what happens what do we need to do when those people come home, when they want to come home? Because I guess, and we've spoken before, Pete, we've both got a little bit of similarity here in that we both grew up in Christian homes and everything like that. And you kind of take certain things for granted. And I think for quite a number of years when I was a younger guy, I just used to kind of turn up at church but didn't really get involved. My personal walk with God wasn't, it would probably be generous just be saying it wasn't really up to much. It was just not great. And just one day, and at a time I was least expecting it, God just grabbed me by the coattails and he just said, and I just realized I needed a life with him. I couldn't live a life without him anymore. And what's more, I wanted to. It wasn't just that I thought, oh, I should do this. I thought I actually really wanted to. And there was a verse that really came to mind that when I was thinking this through, from 2 Timothy 2:13, where it just, because just slightly before that, Paul just says, here's a trustworthy saying. And he says 4 particular things. And the final thing he says was, if we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot disown himself. And I looked at my, back years ago and looking when I really got things sorted out with God, and maybe I was a bit of a prodigal son in a way. And because I kind of really came back. And when I got back into my relationship with God, I didn't feel any judgment. I just felt welcomed home. I meant to actually refer yesterday to that song by the Wren Collective. I just can't stop listening to Wren Collective. All of you guys are talking about all these different worship artists, and at the minute, every time I put on worship music, I'm finding it so difficult because they just make my spirit soar. But there's a song that came out a number of years ago called The Art of Celebration. It was the name of an album, and it just has this line that it says, blameless now I'm coming home. Being welcomed into your arms of majesty. And that, I think so many of us at different times in our lives build up a picture of God that just isn't actually accurate. We think he's really angry with us. Don't confuse that with the fact that there is a judgment to come and God is going to put everything right. But for now, God is just desperate to know you. He's just desperate to welcome you into his arms. And if you've been someone who already knew him, once knew him before, but now he's not really a fixture in your lives, please just have a think about getting him, about getting, just cranking things up, and that's just beginning to pray and beginning to think about getting back into a relationship with God. And the last thing I will say, and I'd encourage people, Luke 15, the chapter of lost things being found, this lost coin, lost sheep, lost son. I'd really encourage you to think about if you're if you're someone who's already part of a church, you're already, you might see my relationship with God is okay, or it's pretty good. When prodigals, when people who were once known by God but are not now, but so much, but not going into the theology of that, but when they come home, what are they going to find? If you get an opportunity to witness to them and tell them who Jesus really is, what are they going to see? Are they going to sense judgment? Are they going to sense stuff that's not of God? Or are they going to sense, actually, I'm just being welcomed home? It made me want to cry yesterday, and I feel like it now, but I think, I remember one of the things I struggled with for lots of years, as much as I loved them, was that I really kind of struggled a bit with my relationship with my parents, because I could just see this. I don't know if you had this, Pete, but there was this kind of like hurt inside them that I wasn't where I needed to be with God. And it affected our relationship in many ways, as much as we still love one another. But when I just got things sorted with God, it's like all of that was just restored. I don't know if you had something similar with your parents, but it was amazingly restored. And very, very, very last thing I will say, when I really got things sorted with God, I didn't get, and I'm really sorry if anyone's ever had this experience with our church, with any church, but I did not sense any judgment or frustration or anger from any Christian. All I got was, we're just so glad that you see it that way now. Welcome home, and everything like that. So I'd encourage you, if you're someone who's not really living with God at the minute, just jump in there with both feet. You won't regret it.
Yeah, that's brilliant, James. I thought you were actually really brave in sharing so much of your own personal story as well on Sunday, and just again now as well. I think you've given us a snippet. And for me, that our stories are very, very similar, actually, aren't they? And
yeah.
Our upbringing's very similar, and the way in which we've kind of, gone on that journey and that curve is quite similar as well. Yeah. And it really resonated with me because my story is so similar to yours, in that there was a large period of my life where I was just wanting to go off and do my own thing, exactly as it says in the passage. It was, it's almost like it was written for my life. It's so true, and I think it's probably an experience that so many of us can identify with. Yeah. Where we've run away from God, maybe not because he was particularly onerous, or because we had a particular experience, but just because we wanted to kind of live our own lives, and we didn't like the idea of this God who wants to control us, which is about as far away from the actual experience of knowing God as we can get. And it's so important that we don't build up this kind of false image of who God really is in our lives. And it's so easy to do that. It's so easy to hear what other people are saying, so easy to hear what the world is saying, and to build up this just incorrect idea of who God is and what he wants for us in our lives, because God wants the best for our lives. And we cannot understate that. We cannot say that enough, or really understand that clearly enough. The best that God wants for our life is better than the best that we can imagine for our own lives. I think that's probably the best way I can put it across, that God's best for our life is so much better than what we think is even possible in our own lives. And when we kind of run away from him, this was certainly my experience, running away from God to try and exert control over my own life, all that happened was I ended up making a mess of things. I ended up making mistakes and getting involved in things that weren't good for me. I'm not talking about terrible things or anything like that, but they didn't seem terrible. But ultimately, the outworking of that was that I found myself in a place where, I was lonely. I was struggling with my mental health. I was just not where I wanted to be. I always knew that I wanted to be a family guy. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to be in a relationship with God. And I wanted to have all of these things. And yet somehow I was running from the one person who wanted to, was in a position to kind of give me all of those things and wanted me to live a life that was good and pleasurable and positive and healthy. And returning to God, returning to my Father, as in the story, has just been has brought such joy into my life. And like you said, I think the thing with my parents, I think what it was is that they, in a relationship with God, were experiencing a joy that I just didn't have. And they wanted me to experience that joy as well. And so knowing that was available and on offer, but I wasn't choosing to kind of enter into that relationship that brings that joy, I think, that would obviously bring a little bit of hurt and just almost a sense of loss, I guess, for them in some respects. And so when, I kind of made a decision in my life was kind of not so much to accept Jesus as my savior, because I'd already done that years ago, but to rededicate my life and say, this is the moment that I'm going to choose to live the life that I really, that I want to live. And it's a life that is surrendered to God. I made that choice. I was baptized soon after, got married, and then the story's gone from there. Entered church leadership, became a father, and all these other bits and pieces. So, the story resonates hugely with me.
So true, and I think, I honestly think, considering we didn't know, because we've probably only known one another for about 10 years, haven't we? And
yeah.
I've literally feel like we have lived the same life. I'm sure there's lots of other people in our kind of generation. There's other people I know who've had similar experiences. And I think when you grow up in church in particular, that can often be your experience, and you can take certain things for granted. And it's often like when you get a clash of cultures, because when you get insane into your teens, I'd imagine you begin to get a real idea of what the world's outside of your kind of quite narrow worldview really is. And especially if you get to travel and see different places and experience different things, and it's really interesting when that happens. But the thing, there's just a couple of things just really quickly. Firstly, I think all humans really, out of everything that we really need, is we all need a sense of purpose, and only God can really give you that purpose. And only he can really put you on a journey that's actually leading somewhere, because all these other things, certainly my experience is, other things, okay, many other things are kind of fine. Like we're talking about beer, it's fine and it's in its proper place, but have too much of it and it can take over. God will give you real purpose. But the other thing is that's really, really come to mind since you were talking was, I've forgotten what it was. We all need purpose, but we all, there's stuff that there was something that I really wished that I'd actually shared yesterday. I was going to share it off the cuff, but I just think God can give. Often you think I'll run from God because I'll just do things my own way. But when you actually really just get back on track with him, I found this is what I wanted in the first place. It's really ironic in a way, but this is what I wanted in the first place, because actually he's given me a shape and sort of trajectory to my life that I'd never seen before. And even we're so similar in the sense that we both kind of moved into church leadership at similar times, didn't we? And it's and my dad. I remember my dad spotting. Cause I remember certain things that he said to me. And he spotted church leadership in you, sort of really early on. You'd only been in the church about 2 minutes, and he said they could already see it. So it's amazing. I often wonder what he'd think if he came back for a day or two. What he'd think about all of that. But,
oh, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it, to sit down with a pint of Old Peculiar, because I know that was his favourite as well.
Yeah,
and just to kind of get his opinions on how things are going. That would be a treat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and by the way, he would agree with you because he hated Tennent's as well, although he did hate most lagers anyway as well. So.
But especially Tennent's. Just before we move on, I just wanted to recommend, if you're interested in a book around the story of the prodigal son, I really just want to recommend this book to you. It's The Prodigal God by Tim Keller. It's a fantastic, it's only a short little book, looks only this big. It's a great read. And if you want to go more under the hood of the parable in itself and actually look a little bit deeper, it's a fantastic book to read. So I really recommend, if you're interested, pick that up and you can read that through probably in a week or so. And it'll really, really help you with a little bit more of a deeper understanding about the parable as a whole as well. Okay, and we'll put that up on our YouTube channel. James's talk from yesterday, we'll put that up on our YouTube channel in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to watch that back, catch up with it, as you can already do with all of the parts of our Homecoming series and all of the series that we've been speaking on over the course of lockdown as well. So that's the weekend just gone. What about the week to come? So, James, we've got quite, in terms of church schedule, we've got quite a lot happening this week, haven't we? So we're kicking off tomorrow with early morning prayer again, aren't we?
Yeah, Tuesday morning prayer, 7:30. Looking forward to that. I'll just say I've read The Prodigal God as well. It's a brilliant book. I'd recommend it to anyone. So it's always really good. I'm all to, I think it was Dietrich Bonhoeffer, I often quote him, the early morning prayer. It was either him or C.S. Lewis, the early morning prayer determines the day. And it's amazing how often when you start your morning with dedicated prayer, it's good to pray just by yourself, but when you can pray with other people, whether it's in person or virtually, it's always really good. So that's taking place 7:30 tomorrow on Facebook, our Facebook channel and YouTube channel as well, which is really great. And later on tomorrow we've got coffee break as well, haven't we? The details, you only need the code, you don't need the password for that. Is on that's going to be on Facebook later on today, and Twitter and Instagram later on today. It was in last week's weekly update as well. So yeah, please do. We'd love you to join in for that as well. That'd be great.
Yeah. So then moving on to Wednesday then. So on Wednesday, we're continuing our teaching series on the book of Acts, and we're up to part number 7, I believe, and chapter 7. And James, you're going to be leading us through this one, aren't you? It's kind of a continuation of chapter 6, isn't it, in a lot of ways? Kind of the next half of the story that you started last week. So do you want to give us a little bit of a preview about that?
Yeah, so originally I'd thought about doing 6 and 7 both together, but there's quite a bit in both, and so I wanted to do justice to both of them. And I didn't really feel led to kind of concertina them both into one. So really, I guess a lot of the only real thing that happens in chapter 7 is the stoning of Stephen, that takes place after a really long speech that goes right back to the very start of Jewish history. And one of Stephen's big kind of themes with all of that is saying that God doesn't reside in a temple that's made by human hands. He's actually wants to inhabit the praises. He wants to inhabit the lives of human people. And I guess in many ways that's really relevant to us today. I probably won't say this in the video when it's filmed prior to Wednesday, because we kind of want to make sure there's a really good shelf life to these videos. But if you think about it, for so many people, the period we've had since March has been really a real shift, because for so many people, their relationship with God has been not necessarily confined, but the main thing has been church building, church services, where they've come and they've participated in some way in a church service, and that's not possible now. Even for people who are able to go to churches that are open at the moment, there for services, you can't really participate in the way that you would have been able to prior to March. So it's kind of quite relevant, some of the things that Stephen says. So I really, really hope that you'll see the relevance of that these days. And that's going to be 7:30 tomorrow on Facebook and YouTube. And it's great. We're really delighted, actually. We've had some really good feedback about that series so far. And it's been really, it's been a lot of fun, actually, really digging into some of that. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed all of the sort of preparation, reading around, and the delivery of the series as well, and listening in as well. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great resource that's there for you on YouTube to tune into whenever you like. And it's an opportunity to really go deeper with scripture and kind of get under the hood of things. But it's such a timely reminder for us as well. And I think this series goes really almost like hand in hand with our Homecoming series, because it is a timely reminder that we are the continuation of this movement that we see birthed in the book of Acts. And it's really encouraging, actually. If you're ever really in a place where you're feeling a little bit like your faith is maybe just needs firing up a bit, go and read the book of Acts. Go and read the book of Acts and actually understand that, hey, this is the faith that I have too. This is the movement that I'm part of as well. And it really fires you up, actually. I think it really fires you up to see some of the things that they saw in that book. So one important thing that we do need to let people know is that next week, we're actually going to have a week's break from the series, aren't we? So we want to allow people to get caught up. So if you're trying to follow along with the series and you've maybe missed a week or you found it difficult to keep up, we're going to have a week off next week. So you'll be able to catch up. And if you haven't yet even started watching the series and you'd like to, it's going to be a great opportunity for you to do that. So you can maybe just watch one session a day for the week, and you could be caught right up. So I'd really encourage you to, if you haven't already, to jump in, join in with the sessions and get caught up over the course of next week if you're not already up to date. And then join us as we continue to look through the entire book of Acts. It's great to be able to do that. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your session on Wednesday night, James. So on Thursday, then, we've also got some more prayer activity happening as well, haven't we? So we've got our prayer walk that's happening at 7:30. Now, a little bit of a departure from the normal with this. So over the last few weeks, we've been meeting every other week at the church car park at 7:30 to go out and pray around our local neighborhood. Now, we will still be praying around our local area, but we're not meeting at the church car park this week. So if you want details on where to go and how to meet up safely and in line with government guidance, please do contact the church office ahead of Thursday to let us know that you're coming. So you can contact the office either by email at office@life-church.co.uk, or you can call us on 01522 694 694 and just let us know that you want to come, and we'll give you details of where you need to go and how you can do that safely to make sure that we're sticking to the rule of 6 and being responsible as we seek to pray for our surrounding area as well. And then on Friday, we've got the journey. The journey continues. It's a great place to go and be equipped and resourced and encouraged to grow in your journey with God, to thrive as the person he's created you to be, and connect with him in meaningful ways. We're really, really passionate about the Journey Project. We're really looking forward to some of the stuff we've got coming down the pipeline with that as well, and how we continue to expand and diversify the Journey content. The best place for you to go if you're interested in checking out any of our Journey content is over to our website. You can find pages there with all of our videos on and with all of our blog posts on as well. And we'll be doing some work on the website as well over the coming weeks to make that even easier for you to get connected with the content that you want to look at. So we'll make it possible in the next few weeks for you to go over to our website and just search for something. And if there's a video on it or if there's a blog post on it, we'll return that search to you, and you can go and tuck into the content that's best suited for you. So the only other thing that we've got coming up this week is obviously our life groups are meeting. So if you're not sure where they're meeting, please speak to your life group leaders. And then on Sunday, we're going to be live again from 10:30 with Life Kids on YouTube at 10 a.m. So really excited about being live again next Sunday. It's going to be great, and we really encourage you to join us. live at 10:30. If you're jumping in on Facebook, make sure you start your watch parties, tag your friends in. It's a great opportunity to invite people to church. It's never been easier. There's never been a better opportunity to invite people to come along and check out what it means to be part of a church and just what a Sunday service at Life Church looks like as well. So we're going to call it there, I think. We've been just over half an hour, which is probably one of our longer ones today. That's what happens when we start talking about beer, I guess. James, anything you want to leave us with before we go?
Just one little thing. Firstly, happy birthday to Abby. Hope you have a great day. It's also my little nephew Elijah's birthday. He's 6 today, so big day for him. So happy birthday, Elijah and Abby. Just with the Thursday night thing, I know it might sound a little bit strange, but all will become clear. Please don't be put off by the fact that we've given you a little bit of a cryptic thing. It's just because we're doing something ever so slightly different, but we've got to be really, because of the current guidelines, we're having to be really careful about how we advertise things. So if you'd like to pray and if you're free, please do contact us. Even if you can't, even if you're not sure until Thursday, sort of Thursday afternoon, where you're going to be, please just contact us. If it was a little bit later, just if you drop us a Pete or I a message personally, or just message the church, say Facebook page, and we'll be able to give you details on there if you end up making a bit of a late decision to come. But we'd really, really love to have you there. But I think, yeah, the only other thing I want to say is just wish all of you a really great week. One of the reasons we wanted to do Monday Lunchtime Live is because we want to give you, we really want to encourage those of you who are kind of going back into work, going back into all the responsibilities you've got this week. We want to encourage you just to keep pressing on with God, keep pressing on, don't give up. Things that, if you're finding things difficult at the minute, just keep going, get people around you, keep praying about things, and God will bring you through.
Brilliant. Thank you, James. And thanks everybody for joining us. Again, I just echo what James said. Have a great week, everybody. Hope that you plug into some of the things that we're doing this week. And if we don't see you in person, that we'll catch you online. Stay safe. Have a great week, and we'll connect with you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
God bless everyone.